I know you guys are really excited because we're going to have the debate over whether or not Texas should be annexed on Friday, but we still need to get some of our materials done. So before that, I just want to go over some vocabulary with you guys. Point of view and bias. So who wants to tell me what point of view is? Anyone?
What you think,
Yeah, what you think?
the way you see something.
Way you see something? All good. Write those down for you. You think, how you see. All right, those are really good. Now it's bias. There's no wrong answers. Come on. Let's start calling out names. A couple more seconds.
I guess things that might influence the decision.
Yeah. Things that influence a decision.
I kind of feel like you've already got your mind made up one way or another if you have a bias. Or like it's
Yeah.
kind of your internal, like, I already know this is right.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Exactly. Spot on. All right. Wanted to go over these real quick because they are going to come into our content objectives and language objectives. Would anyone like to read them out for me?
I will.
All right.
Okay, content objectives. Students will identify points of view from politicians against the war and the frame of references that influence the participants.
Very good. Who would like to read the language objectives? Yeah.
Students will demonstrate reading comprehension and employ analytical skills.
Oh, very good. So, before we go over our politicians against the war, I'd like us to go back over our historical reading checklist. I know it's been a couple days, and we've all slept since then. So, go ahead and take one each. So let's go over those real quickly. I'd like to see the beautiful chart that Period 2 made for me. So number 1 is title. What do we need to ask ourselves with this?
What is the name of the document?
Yeah. Why is that important?
It tells you what you're about to read or expectation.
Oh, exactly. Good job. Now, number 2. This one has a couple more parts to it. The source. We'd like to read off what you need to look for and ask yourself when you look at the source. Yeah.
Who wrote this? When was it written? What kind of source is it? And what was the author's intention?
Very good. So who remembers the different kind of sources? I know we went over this really quickly a couple days ago, but let's just see what you guys remember.
Books.
Books. Is that going to be a primary or a secondary?
It's going to be a secondary source.
Exactly. Books are going to be a secondary source because unless it's an autobiography, because it's someone else writing about something that happened. And what's going to be a primary source? I know I just gave it away, but autobiography, a diary, memoir. So keep this in mind, right? And then who wants to read what content, what we should look for? Yes, Lana?
Was there bias? What was the author's point of view? How did people at the time feel? Same as the author or different? How does it compare to a document from the same time period?
All right, excellent. So why are all these questions so important for when we're reading these? Anyone? No wrong answer, I promise.
It can all shape our point of view.
Exactly. Because if the author has a point of view, you want to listen to him, but if you don't agree with him. So we always need to think about what the author is trying to convey, because at times it can be not exactly what we want to hear, but we still need to hear it. So, went over. Since you guys have your own handy dandy little chart, and this is up here, let's go ahead and look at politicians against the war. So, I know we've been talking a lot about Texas annexation. So, you think just from the title of this, are they going to be pro-Texas or anti-Texas?
Protest.
Pro?
No.
It's okay.
Because against,
Yeah.
so then no.
The against. And I want you guys to flip over to the next page. And we're just going to go ahead and ignore all of this. Doesn't matter to us. We are going to look at down here. And you'll notice that I've gone through and highlighted certain sections for you guys. I want you guys to pay real strong attention to it. There's some really good points in there. But, so, politicians against the war. I would like you guys to go ahead and highlight that. That way we can always go back. If we're looking for it, we're going to say, yep, that's the title. It's exactly what we're looking for. And also, this is going to be good preparation for the STAR test, because I know you guys are going to have to read passages, and there may or may not be a title. So always be on the lookout. Okay, so. Now, since we got the title, let's go down to the source. Who wrote this? Was there something on the front page that said it?
Advocate of Peace, Volume 7.
That's the book it's a part of. No, there's no, it doesn't specifically tell you the author. So this is something that would be on the STAR test. You don't know the author. However, we go through and read, we'll find the author. So, would anyone like to go ahead and read this little paragraph for me? Lana?
Okay. Mr. Webster, in his speech before a political convention in Springfield, Massachusetts, September 29, denounced the war as most unnecessary and most unjustifiable, a war unconstitutional in its origin, a war of pretext, a war in which the true motive is not distinctly avowed, but in which pretenses, afterthoughts, evasions, and other methods are employed to put case before the community.
All right, we can go ahead and stop. Did we see who the author is?
Mr. Webster.
Yeah. Go ahead, highlight, underline, draw a big old arrow, if you will. So, I've already gone ahead and done some little background for you guys. And Mr. Webster is a minister from Pennsylvania. So, thinking about the annexation of Texas and thinking about where Pennsylvania is Pennsylvania an abolition state or is it a slavery state? Abolition. So, do you think Mr. Webster is going to be for Texas coming in? No. And why not?
Because the South were more for the slavery.
Yeah. What else? They didn't. So thinking back, what was the main issue for the annexation of Texas? Was that it would bring in more slave states than abolition states. So someone from Pennsylvania that's an abolition state, would they want more slave states? No. Right? So, also looking at this, can you guys find some really good parts to use in our debate on Friday? that would be against Texas?
This quote from Mr. Webster was that the war was unconstitutional.
Exactly, it's a really good point to make.
So that draws the people's patriotic heartstrings.
He makes a lot of good points, and he's only just started to give his speech. He's calling it unconstitutional, like Melanie said. He's saying it's unnecessary and unjustifiable. So we're only one paragraph in. Is there a bias? Yeah? What's his point of view?
It's constitutional.
Mm-hmm.
Even though stated against it.
Mm-hmm. So we can already tell, we're only one paragraph in, that he's very much against this. So let's go on. I want us to do a couple paragraphs together, and then I want you guys to go through and try to find your own sources, and then we're going to come back together and talk about them. So, I hold the war-making power to be trusted to Congress, but I believe that Congress was surprised into the recognition of war on 13th of May, 1846. I believe that the question has been put to Congress before advantage of our troops not 10 votes could have been obtained to pronounce that there was an existing state of things. So, just thinking about where Texas is, who do you think they're scared to go to war with?
Mexico.
Oh, Mexico. Why would it be a bad thing to go to war with Mexico?
It's a neighboring country.
Yeah,
Don't want there to be informed to make conflicts with
yeah. Also, does Mexico have connections with Europe? Yeah. So, all of this is talking about not wanting to go to war because we can be beat, especially since we may not be unified. So, what's his intention with just writing this so far?
It is not a good idea to go to war.
Yeah. Is it a good idea for Texas to be annexed?
No.
No. So, this article, this document, is it going to be for pro-Texas or anti-Texas? Which side of the debate will it be on? Anti. Good. So sorry. Want us to go ahead and skip down to here. And I want you guys to read it on your own. And I want us to come back and talk about it and talk about if we see any more of these questions. Because I know you guys have already read some other documents, but let's hold on to that and talk about it at that very end. Right now, I want you guys to focus on his point of view and his intent. I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to do this, and I'll go around in a minute, all right? All right, so I know it hasn't quite been a couple minutes, but I would like for us to come back together and wrap it up. So, what examples did you guys find?
Mr. Clay is also against the war.
Excellent. And do we remember who Henry Clay is? Henry Clay is a northern senator. He's also Secretary of State. So is a very big role. That would be a really good thing to bring into our debate.
I
Right?
think that his resolutions that he brought forth were, once again, pointing out that it was unconstitutional. His complaints were that it didn't go through Congress enough, that there was too much executive leadership instead of going through Congress, which is the direct representation of what the people would want to see.
It's a really good piece of information. And how do you think that might pertain to this one? Do you think, given that he's bringing in other people, do they feel the same way as Mr. Webster?
Quite a few days.
Yeah? All right, so I know we haven't gone through a lot, but looking around, you guys have some really good examples, and I want us to just keep doing that. I know that I went through and I did highlight certain parts. I'm just going to borrow this for you for 1 second, and I want you guys to go ahead and read those and see what you find. That way, when we come back to class tomorrow, we're ready to have a debate about this and talk about what are good points and talk about more about the actual debate we're going to have, because there's also going to be another piece of information I'm going to give to you guys. All right, do you guys have any kind of questions for this? Any confusion? No? You guys just really, really psyched for that debate on Friday? Yeah, great. I just know you guys are really good debaters. All right, have a good day.